Welcome to another edition of the Mistake-Free Real Estate Podcast. I am your host, Marck, and today I'm joined by David Richter. David, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, super excited to go down this topic today. Guys, David Richter is a published author and a Profit First expert. For those that haven't heard, Profit First was a concept originally coined by Mike Michalowicz. And David, tell us a little bit about your relationship to Mike and how you kind of came into becoming a Profit First guru.
Sure. So my background is real estate investing. So I'll go into that maybe in a little bit, but I was working with an investor and, helped him get the financial portion of his business up to speed and like to where he felt more in control of his business. And I said, and after he looked at me and said like, hey, this has been transformational, I was like, hey, I think I want to help other people with this as well too. So I called a mentor and said, hey, I'm thinking of starting a business to help real estate investors with their finances. What do you think? And he was like, yeah, that sounds great, but have you read Profit First? And I said, oh, okay. Like, what's this book? So I downloaded the book that evening, took like 10 pages of notes, right there, and said, this is the framework. This is the framework to help real estate investors and to help the people that I want to, get out of the rat race here and, living deal to deal. So that's where I went to Mike Michalowicz, became a part of like his organization, the Profit First Professionals, to get closer to Mike. Then after I actually was implementing Profit First with real estate investors for a while, I went to Mike later and said like, hey, I think there needs to be a book for real estate investing because I love the general concepts of the book, but there's a bunch of nuances in real estate. So what do you think about that? And that's where Mike was like, yeah, let's do this thing. And that was a year and a half ago now, about 14, 15 months ago. And, now the book's here with Profit First for real estate investing.
I'm super excited. We'll definitely pitch that book at the end so people know where to go to get that book. So let's back up. You are obviously have experience in real estate. Where did you grow up and how did the real estate industry pull you into the mix?
Sure. So I grew up outside of Chicago. And a good friend of mine gave me the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad in college. So there you go. Like most real estate investors, that's the one that opened up my mindset. So
read that book, though. It's such an impactful book. I mean, it was the same for me. Sounds cliche, but there is a reason that the cliches are cliches, and it's because there's a lot of truth in them. But so that obviously bit you. And how did you start going into it yourself, or did you go work for somebody that was in real estate?
So I started reading more books and I was like, okay, I'm tired of reading books on real estate. Like, let me do a deal. So I went out, found a deal off the MLS. It was a HUD foreclosure. It was something where we, put money into it. I actually rented it out first, got some good cash flow for me back then while I was in college. And then after college, I moved into it with my wife. And then we lived there for 2 years because I knew the tax laws and whatnot. So 2 years later, we moved out of it and we put a lease option tenant in there. Mm-hmm. And this tenant paid early on time, was like super tenant, then cashed me out 6 months later. And because I had lived there for 2 years, it was tax-free capital gains. And I'm like, oh yeah, I like this. So that's where it got me started, seeing the actual returns that you could get in real estate. And then I started working with a company in Northwest Indiana where they were doing a lot of deals at that time, 5 to 7 deals, a month. And I just wanted to learn. So I went to that owner and said, hey, can I learn? Can you teach me? I'll work nights, weekends. I'll work for free until you feel like there's a role for me inside of the company. So I did that for about 8 months on the side while I was still working another job. And it's kind of what got me started down the real estate path, even more, and looking at it from the business side of things as well too. So it's kind of what got me started.
So obviously you came into Collective Genius kind of as a service provider, right? Is that when you first jumped into the group?
So interesting fact, when I was a part of that company, we scaled it up. This was probably 7, 8 years ago now. We scaled it up to like 25 or 30 deals a month.
Is this Wayne and Gary?
This was Wayne, Gary, Harper, Tom, up there in Northwest Indiana. Yeah. And so I came with them to one Collective Genius. I remember because we played Torrey Pines Golf Course there in California. And I'm like, this is awesome because these people have read the books I've read and like this mastermind concept I was like 21, 22. And it was just totally novel to me. And I really liked that atmosphere. So I went to Collective Genius back then, with them as a part of that company. So then I always knew about Collective Genius. I knew it was a great a great organization. Kind of got to see that kind of grow and take wing too. And then, yes, came back years later here now with a service that we actually provide to real estate investors, this fractional CFO service, and part of Collective Genius now.
Okay, so let's dive in. Profit First for Real Estate Investing. The subtitle of the book is Transform Your Real Estate Investing Business from a Cash-Eating Monster to a Money-Making Machine. Let's talk about that cash-eating monster. What do you find when you walk in the door to, let's just say, a real estate office that has less than perfect bookkeeping, like, or that, you know, or maybe it's not even someone that, it's just, is it every real estate investor is kind of out there hustling and grinding and kind of puts finance on the back burner? Is that what you find?
Yeah, 95% of the time, I would say it's like that, where that the number one mistake we see is just avoiding the financial side or just abdicating all responsibility on the financial side to someone else. And that's probably the biggest mistake, because, you know, as an entrepreneur, business owner, you at least have to have the control over your cash and knowing where your cash is flowing, where your cash is going. I get it. You're not an accountant, not a CPA. Like most people aren't, that come out of it, you know, that become a real estate investor. So you don't have that formal training and know all the nitty gritty, and you don't need to. As the business owner, you need to be savvy, but not like accountant and bookkeeping and all that. So that's what initially also attracted me very much to Profit First, because this is a way to put that control in your hands, speaking entrepreneurial language and saying like, this is how you control the cash. But yeah, I see that so many times when we walk into business, or like I've had 10 calls with potential people over the last just like 4 days, and almost everyone is like, I have no idea what's going on. I don't know the numbers. I don't know where the cash is going. I'm making X and I'm spending X. You know, it's like, I don't feel like I'm gaining any ground. You know, I don't feel control at all in my business. So yeah, I would say it's a pretty high percentage that don't have anything on that side. And they feel embarrassed too. Like they feel embarrassed to tell me. And I'm like, that first of all, I'm not going to make fun of you at all. Like, safe space here. But secondly, like, no one's really taught you this side. You know, I get it. You're not the CPA or bookkeeper accountant. Like, right, you haven't been taught just basic money management in a high level at all. So it's like, it's okay. Like now you're working with someone, and, you know, someone that can help you. But yeah, we see that a lot.
With real estate specifically, I think it can be even more so of a monster, because as people make cash, they turn around and say, now I need to go do another deal. And with this whole pay cash, close quickly mentality, there's a tendency to just throw all available cash at the next deal. And so inventory, as you scale and grow, inventory expands, you pour more money into the assets. So your balance sheet is heavy, but you can absolutely be very, very cash strapped. Right. I certainly have been there. Is that a fair statement? Oh,
it's a very fair statement, because I love our industry because we don't like lazy money, and we want everything out there working for us and getting a return on investment. And that's what we're trained to do. So we do see that a lot. And that's where it's like, okay, we got to at least get a handle on this. So you're not stressed out and not able to sleep just because, you know, you might be doing 100 deals a month, but it's still like, you still got to be able to live and eat and, you know, pay your people the next week. So yeah, we see that a lot.
So David, high level, most people have been taught income minus expenses equals profit. Can you do me a favor and just flip that script for people and explain a little bit about what Mike's philosophy is?
Yeah, profit first. So it's income minus profit equals expenses. So it's just it's just switching the profit and expenses. It's switching that order. You make a sale, you collect income, and then you allocate or transfer or take your profit first. And then what you have left over is the expenses you have for the business. It's putting those first things first. If you want to be profitable, let's think about profit first and taking that profit. So, but the other thing I want to say there too, just for the real estate investing world, is we've heard that so much, though. I feel like we've heard that concept, maybe not in that formula, but in Rich Dad Poor Dad, you know, like where he says, pay yourself first. And like, I paid myself before I paid my other bills. And even when money was tight, and we've heard it in like The Richest Man in Babylon, like a portion of all I have is mine to keep. And it's like, we've heard that over and over and over again, but I feel like it hasn't hit home until you see money in accounts and you see money there and you're making profit a habit inside of your business. So that's why I like the other side of profit first too. And I love the formula. I love that shift in mentality, but I love that it's got like teeth behind it too on the practical side.
It's extremely practical. And I don't know if you would agree, I'm curious to get your thoughts, but I kind of think of profit first more as not that you have to go and be intellectual and go to school. It's not like an education in learning so much as it is just a process that you can implement and learn. It's a discipline, perhaps.
Yes, I 100% agree. It is a process and a system, and it creates that discipline. Like if you're implementing this process, you see like the discipline is easier to have the profits grow and have the actual cash balances in your bank accounts, start to fill up. So it's definitely a process system that any business really of any size can implement.
Yeah, I think Jason Medley says it best when he says, making money is a skill set, but retaining money is a discipline.
Yeah.
It takes discipline. Yep. And I think you are epitomizing that and helping people all through the industry. I think that's wonderful. Tell me, profit first versus profit first for real estate investors. What's the big difference? You mentioned that there was other industries that certainly have implemented this. How do you see the differences between real estate and other industries?
Couple big things. The accounts that you set up. So if people aren't familiar with Profit First, there's 5 foundational accounts. There's what I call in the book, the golden trio, because I'm a total nerd. If you're looking at me, I used to have braces too. So, I totally get the stigma. So it's like, here we go. Like I like the big, right? The big epic sagas, Harry Potter, Star Wars, they always have 3 main heroes, always pushing the story forward for good. And you need 3 heroes in your business, 3 bank accounts: profit, owner's comp, and owner's income tax. Like those 3 bank accounts are for you, the owner, to make sure that you are healthy financially. Then there's the income account. That's a 4th account to control the money. The income deposits come into that income account, and then you push it out to those other accounts and transfer it, and you direct the money where to go. That 5th account's your OPEX account or operational expense account, where the expenses come from, but everyone always has that account. We all start with that one. But those are the foundational accounts for that he teaches in Profit First. But then I teach there's other accounts that you should be opening up to, depending on the type of business that you have. No matter what, I think if you're real estate investing, you should probably open up an OPM account, other people's money account, where if we get private money, bank money in for projects, rehabs, you don't want it to go into the dark abyss of your operational expense account and just be like eating that money like there's no tomorrow. And then you come up and here's the money that was supposed to be for this project, and here it's gone on the last project. So it's like separate out that money, make sure you're not using it for what you're, like what you are doing day to day. So that's one big thing that I teach in the book that I want to make sure people understand, that OPM, other people's money. Then there's other ones too. Like I see marketing, like a lot of people have big marketing budgets. You might want to open up a separate account for marketing because we're marketing heavy, and whether it's direct mail, TV ads, all this, PPC, all this stuff. Like if you want to track that, make sure you have enough to keep the pipeline full of revenue, then, separating out that money and making sure where, what's going out as far as marketing goes. Then there's other things if you're holding rentals like PITI, the principal, interest, taxes, insurance, like making sure you have that. And, because sometimes you pay taxes and insurance on a biannual or annual basis. So some of those accounts I go more in depth in the book, but that's one big thing. Another one that I dedicate a whole chapter is reserves. Reserves can help grow your business. And that's where you were saying, Mark, about the mindset of a lot of real estate investors of like, I want to use every dollar. If it's in my account, I want to use it. I want it to be out on the street. And then they get into the cash crunch, and then they're running around like a chicken with their head cut off. So I teach about reserves and how it's peace of mind for you. You don't have to live deal to deal. You can build this reserve in order to capitalize on the opportunities that come your way too. Like maybe set up a specific investment fund, investment bank account of like these. If I have money in this account, I can take down the deals. If I don't, then my money is out for those deals, and I need to refill that again, to be able to buy that next deal. So it's like just putting some of those in place. Lenders love reserves in order to be able to grow your business. They like to see reserves in your account. So it's just like, just remember what some of this reserves actually represent to you. It also frees up your mind space as an owner. Don't have to live deal to deal. Don't have to make decisions from fear now of like, shoot, I really need that cash. Yep. Where is it? You can live more from your purpose and make the decisions from a better mind space as well too. So those are a couple of the things. The other big one is when you transfer money, because the whole point of the system is making a profit a habit inside your business, and not just this one-time event at the end of the year, hopefully that you have money left over to take at the end of the year. It's making profit a habit. So how often do you do the transfers? How often do you transfer into the profit account? How often do you transfer to yourself, and getting yourself in the rhythm that works for your business? That's the big one where I go into, where in the original Profit First, it's like, well, the 10th and 25th. And for a real estate investing company, that might not always work. If you're a rental company, you might be getting, like the deposits all throughout the whole month. So maybe it's a weekly transfer or a monthly transfer or maybe a quarterly transfer. We work with some people who do big flips, and they're like, they do 1 or 2 deals throughout the quarter. So they do like a quarterly transfer to make sure they're covered quarter to quarter. So there's just, you got to make sure you're getting in some type of rhythm for you that that you can do for your business. So those are a couple things that I have inside of the Profit First for Real Estate Investing book.
Totally sold. I think it's extremely valuable. Why is it so hard? Why do not more people do it?
I think it's a mental block on the financial side. Like, most people would want to avoid that side because we haven't been taught. And there is that stigma of like, I hear the words accountant, bookkeeping, CPA, and I immediately shut down as a business owner. So it's like, we hear that someone talking about the finances. That's why on this side, it's about the cash. It's about you having that control as the business owner. And I feel like that drum has not been beat enough, that you as the business owner can have control without going to college, without having a degree in accounting, without reading a ton of books on this. It's just like you said, it's a system. It is a process that creates the discipline in your business that helps you get control of your business. And I don't think that message has gotten out there enough. And that's why the book's here. And that's why I want to get this out, because it's just like, you as the business owner can have the control without having to have all that background.
Who plays the biggest role in this gaining financial clarity? And secondly, I guess, how important is it to have the right person or the right people in the right roles inside the company?
That is insanely important, because you need to work off your data. Like, most entrepreneurs, real estate investors that are doing high volume, high revenue, high net profit know their numbers to a T. They could tell you, I could pull up this report at this time and say, this is why something is either going wrong or going right in my business. And having the people that are able to collect that data, implement it, and give it to you to say, here it is, here's the data for you to review and to analyze, that is very important, because that way, that gives you power now to do high level and high dollar amount activities. So you have to have the right people and trust them to be able to get the bookkeeping in place and to do the taxes right. So you're paying as little taxes as humanly possible, because you're a real estate investor. And this is why those people are very important, but knowing how to manage them. If you have control on your cash, your balance sheets, your P&Ls, all those things in the accounting world that you hear will take care of themselves a lot of the time. Will make sure that they are healthy if you can control the cash. So then also making sure that you can hold them accountable to having the right data that's being input and giving you the data that you want to see from your numbers to be able to make decisions. So that is one of the first things we do with people, is making sure who's on your team. What are the systems and processes right now for getting data and getting the numbers in place, because that is very important for you as the owner to feel in control of your business too.
David, that's very insightful. I'm going to give you a minute to pause and collect yourself while we take a quick break here. I want to come back to you with the 4 kind of key takeaways or big mistakes you've found with regard to people trying and failing to implement Profit First. Guys, if you're watching and gaining some value on YouTube, please make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. We sure don't want you to miss a video. The content that David is dropping today is wonderful, and there are other videos out there of like-minded individuals that will really help you, not only in your business profession, but also in your investing career. So please hit the like button. It helps so that more people can see the video. We're trying to educate as more people as possible. This section of the show brought to you by 1-800-SELL-NOW. If you're looking for a quick and easy way to sell your house, look no further than 1-800-SELL-NOW. Buying all across the nation, 1-800-SELL-NOW helps people out of difficult home ownership situations. David, back to you. I'm going to give you a minute here to kind of go over the pitfalls and mistakes that you see people make in real estate. But first, can you come up with a time or a mistake that you've made? You're actually an interesting interview, because not only are you a kind of a business solution CFO type, but you've actually been in the real estate game yourself. What is one of the biggest mistakes that you've made in real estate?
Oh man, like if I only have to pick one, let's do a deal that I did myself. And how great that first deal went. Let's just say my second rental did not go that great. We bought it in an area where I probably shouldn't have bought it, probably a D minus, D plus type neighborhood. And the tenants that we took over, we probably didn't screen as well we should have, or should have just kicked out initially. And it was just a hassle every single month. Everything, something either was going wrong or they couldn't pay, or like, let's get it up to date. And eventually I had to get them out of the property. So that was definitely one of the biggest ones. And it was like, okay, I don't want to do this again. So I either need property management or I need better systems to screen the tenants. And needless to say, I didn't let that happen nearly as much from there. But that was definitely one of my biggest mistakes, because it caused me personal headache. And it's like, it took me away from the other, high dollar producing activities I could have been doing, but I was stuck there taking calls at all hours of the day from, this tenant.
Well, I think you've hit on three critical points there. One is buying in a bad location, not a good idea. The second is the key to property management and how vacancy and maintenance are the two big killers of cash flow. And then thirdly, as you mentioned, I think people sometimes undervalue their own time. Guys, when you're in a position where you can go and make significant money, hundreds of dollars per hour, why not partner with someone who can go and collaborate and bring the value of their expertise into your realm as well? I think that's one thing that you offer to your clientele, David, is that, look, I know that, you walk into an office and a real estate investor just wants to go crush it and make more money and do more deals and figures everything will be fine. Not that he's abdicating responsibility to you, but you showcasing and helping them through the process. I'm sure that your services is well received because they can actually get back to doing what they do best.
Exactly. Because that's where we want to partner with them as a CFO. That's why we call ourselves CFOs too, because we want the owners to know, like, we're here with you by your side. You're not abdicating that responsibility. This is a partnership here to help you know what blind spots you might have or the opportunities to seize on, and to not be able to have to worry about everything on the financial side. Like we'll hold those people accountable on the financial side and the financial team, and you do what you do best. You keep bringing in the top line revenue and we'll make sure you have a bottom line.
There you go. So if you're looking to a target audience, you may be a good customer for Profit First or real estate investing. What are the character traits that would exhibit someone that's in dire need of help, and may not even know it? What do you typically see when you go in and walk into an office building that is housing a real estate investor by trade?
Usually, number one, they don't have a system to pay themselves. So that's where we see owners who are feeling the most stressed and the most out of control, and the ones that aren't sleeping don't have a good system to pay themselves consistently. Because even if they are paying themselves, they sometimes they feel guilty for paying themselves because they don't know, like, is this too much? This isn't enough. I'm stressed at home. I don't know what, like my wife keeps asking me, is there enough for groceries? It's like, just that mental stress and strain that people put on themselves because they don't have someone to talk to or don't have a system to show them, like, hey, you have money in this account for owner's comp, take it out. Like, this is for you, like it's giving them that permission. So it's like, that's one of the big things we see is when people don't have a system to pay themselves consistently, it just creates a lot of head garbage that they don't need inside of their business and inside their personal lives too. The other big one is that avoiding the financial side, they've responsibility. Exactly. They've avoided it. And we've seen some people that don't even have a bookkeeper or someone. It's like, it's just been on spreadsheets and someone's kind of been keeping track of things here and there. And it's like, okay, is it where we need to go in and completely just get the foundation laid? Or do you have someone in there and you're just not sure how to hold them responsible, accountable, and they're not giving you what you need in order to make high level decisions and say, okay, I know this data is good. I know I can use this and I know I can implement something from this data, or I can change something in my business because of what this data is telling me. Those are some of the biggest ones we see when we go in, and then people are feeling really like something needs to change here on the financial side.
You got it. Guys, for those that are interested, Profit First for Real Estate Investing, wonderful book. I really enjoyed it, David. Thank you so much for your time today. How can I'm assuming it's on Amazon right now. Is that the easiest way to jump out and grab the book?
Correct. It is on Amazon. You can type it in there. We also have simplecfobook.com. If you want to go there, it takes you right to the links, or to bulk buy. Even if you're picking up a couple copies, it's a bulk discount that you get. It's a discounted price from Amazon. So you can go there as well.
Awesome. So Simple CFO Solutions and simplecfobook.com for contact information for you. David Richter with Profit First. Thank you so much. It's been a wonderful time spending some time with you this morning. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
You're listening to Mistake-Free Real Estate Radio, the authority in passive real estate investing. No late-night calls, no clogged drains, no tenant nightmares. Take the passive investor's approach to real estate investing and trust a turnkey professional. Learn more at mistakefreerealestate.com. Until next time, remember, you don't get rich from what you earn, you get rich from what you own.